It's difficult because I had to really learn how to have boundaries, something that I never have really talked about.
Ever since Rihanna stepped onto the music scene, she and Beyoncé have been pitted against each other by the media. But how much of it is just tabloid gossip? How do they actually feel about one another? They've known each other for years now, and even though Rihanna has extended a lot of olive branches, Beyoncé still seems cold towards her. So why is it that after all this time, it still seems like Beyoncé won't accept her? We all know that Beyoncé and Rihanna are both fiercely private people who don't like to share much about their personal lives. And because of that, it's pretty difficult to tell how they really feel about each other. So there have been times when one has paid a compliment to the other in an interview, but sometimes their actions have spoken louder than their words. And over the years, Beyoncé has dropped plenty of hints that she doesn't 100% approve of Rihanna. It's not uncommon for two female singers to be compared to each other by the press. So from the moment Rihanna became an up-and-coming star, the media claimed that she was gunning for Beyoncé's position at the top. But things between them only got even more heated when the rumors came out that Rihanna and Jay Z were having an affair. It just amped up the drama between the two women, and everyone thought that Beyoncé didn't like Rihanna because of that. People assumed that she knew about the alleged affair and that she even referred to it in her songs Ring the Alarm and Resentment, which prompted her dad and manager at the time, Matthew Knowles, to release a public statement clarifying that the songs were not about Rihanna. Of course, all parties involved denied the cheating allegations. But the seed had already been planted, and a lot of the headlines around that time promoted a rivalry between the two women. Years later, a revelation about the supposed cheating scandal came out in a Beyoncé biography by J. Randy Taraborelli. He claimed that the rumor was the fault of Rihanna's ex-publicist, Jonathan Hay. Jonathan then revealed in a statement in Inside Edition that he'd actually apologized to Beyoncé for what he'd done. He claimed that the PR stunt came out of desperation to help break Rihanna's first single, Pon de Replay. He added that he was reckless and didn't think it was going to work. I mean, it sounds like a crazy and risky thing to do, right? A lot of people have questioned not only his actions, but his words too. Some online users have speculated in chat forums if Jonathan was actually forced to say that just to take the blame away from Jay Z and Rihanna, and to try and keep Jay Z and Beyonce's public image squeaky clean, which I think isn't too hard to believe given the lengths that they've allegedly gone to do that in the past. I guess we'll never know what really went on behind closed doors, but maybe even just the idea of the affair left a bitter taste in Beyonce's mouth that she just hasn't gotten over. Her feelings toward Rihanna were once again questioned in 2016 when they both released an album that same year. You might remember that Rihanna's album, Anti, was briefly leaked on Tidal, which meant that she ended up having to release it earlier than she'd planned to. It was a huge deal at the time, and everyone immediately began pointing fingers and looking for someone to blame. According to sites like Pedestrian, it didn't take long for one of those fingers to point at Beyoncé. After all, she and Jay Z are co-owners of the streaming service, and you're not going to believe the insanely evil thing that some people accuse them of doing. Rumor has it that Beyoncé convinced her husband to allow Anti to be leaked on the platform so that it'll hurt Rihanna's first week of album sales. And if that theory is true, it kind of worked because her album reportedly only sold 124,000 copies in the first week. But then, just a couple of months later, when Beyonce's Lemonade album dropped, it sold 653,000 copies in its first week. Coincidence? Maybe. But those numbers, coupled with Beyonce's long-standing shade toward Rihanna, were seemingly enough for this crazy conspiracy to quickly spread across social media. I mean, even an article by Vogue pointed out that people couldn't help asking if Beyoncé was just trying to steal Rihanna's thunder back then. Their 2016 album drama didn't end there, though. Later that year, the Grammys nominations for 2017 came out. And while both Anti and Lemonade got a whole bunch of nominations, only one of them was up for Album of the Year, Beyoncé's. On top of that, she was also up for Song of the Year, but none of Rihanna's tracks had scored her that nomination. According to Pink Villa, it didn't take long for people to assume that this would cause some tension between the two singers. Then, something happened on social media that caused the internet to have a mini meltdown. Rihanna liked a post on Instagram that was throwing heaps of shade at Beyoncé. It eventually turned out that she's classier than that, though, and that she only liked the post because she thought the photo was funny. But she'd failed to read the caption that said, "Congratulations to Rihanna and everybody for her 8 Grammy nominations, but F them for snubbing her for Song of the Year and Album of the Year. I think they didn't want her tied or passing someone else. Cough, cough." But when Rihanna saw that the post kept popping up on her Instagram feed, she finally read the caption and she supposedly commented on it straight away. She wrote that it was just needless and that she wished people would drop the topic and look at things from a different perspective. She added that they didn't need to pit Black women against each other. They deserved to be celebrated, and the Grammy Academy agreed. But this wasn't the only time that Rihanna called for people to stop inventing feuds between her and Beyoncé, which I have to add is something that Beyoncé herself has not ever really done. But in a 2016 interview with Vogue, Rihanna commented on the supposed friction between them and explained that people would just get so excited to feast on something that was negative. According to her, that was just not what she woke up to, because she could only do her, and nobody else was going to be able to do that. We don't know if she was thinking the same thing 2 years later, though, when accusations came out that Beyoncé had stolen her look. In 2018, Beyoncé was on the cover of the September issue of Vogue in a floral headpiece, but Glamour reported that just 6 days earlier, Rihanna had worn a similar flower crown on her cover for British Vogue's September issue. And of course, it set the world of social media aflame. A Twitter war began in the comments section of Vogue's promotional post for their US cover, with some users commenting that Beyoncé's photo resembled Rihanna's one. Beyoncé's followers came at them, claiming that Beyoncé was wearing similar headpieces long before Rihanna was. But as some of you probably already know, this isn't the first time that she's been accused of copying other people's styles. Beyoncé was recently targeted by Erykah Badu when she was on tour for Renaissance for wearing a metallic hat similar to one Erykah had worn on stage before. Erykah actually posted side-by-side photos of the two of them wearing their matching hats in one of her Instagram stories. And in the text below the photos, she wrote, I guess I'm everybody's stylist. As you can probably guess, Beyoncé hasn't commented on either of the copying accusations. Like I said before, it does seem like Rihanna is working harder to show that she doesn't have any beef with Beyoncé. According to Re-Edition magazine, Rihanna once responded to a question about her allegedly strained relationship with Beyoncé by saying that it was because people liked to think that. They liked to put women against each other, which she said was just not that cool. In late 2022, Rihanna even unofficially offered Beyoncé an amazing collaboration opportunity. When asked by an E! News interviewer who'd be her dream model for a future catwalk showcase, Rihanna said, Beyoncé got body. That would just trump everything for me. To be honest, it's not like Beyoncé has never said anything nice about Rihanna in return, but it just doesn't look like she's been as generous with her words as Rihanna has. And she hasn't really said much about the supposed rivalry between them. It just seems like she's still trying to keep Rihanna at arm's length. Is it because she never got over the rumors about her and Jay Z? Or does she think it's all just good publicity for both of them? And if there really isn't any beef between them, then why hasn't there ever been some kind of collaboration between them? Maybe Beyoncé just thinks there's only enough room for one at the top. But what do you guys think? Is there a chance that Beyoncé was actually the one behind Rihanna's album being leaked on Tidal? Let me know in the comments below.